My name is Reverend Leslie Goodwin. I'm the other of your senior ministers. Yes, you get a twofer around here. And I want to thank all of you who are regulars who are going, what's up with the order of service today? This doesn't seem like the normal order of service. And you're right. And the story going on here is, as Reverend Karen mentioned, it is the World Parliament of Religions. And we are deeply honored and blessed to be one of the services that are actually participating live stream services for the World Parliament of Religions, which means there are people all over the world joining us online right now, as of literally right now, because the World Parliament of Religions had a schedule going on until right now. So as I'm saying these words, if you are joining us as part of the World Parliament of Religions, please know that you are deeply welcomed and wanted and loved. And we cry a lot here, so that's what's happening with my voice. And we are so honored to invite you into our community today. New Thought is an umbrella movement of which Science of Mind is a part of, and we are a part of that movement. And we deeply honor every faith tradition. We believe that there's only one path to God, and it's literally all of them. You can't be on the wrong path, because if there's only one place to go, if spirit, the infinite goodness is all that there is, then every single path you could possibly walk is going to get you there. And so you're welcome to join our path today, and we honor you on yours. We are in the middle of what we call Stewardship Month, which is a month that we set aside every year to talk about the spiritual goodness of money and abundance. What, you say? The spiritual goodness of money and abundance? That might not be a thing that you have thought about in your life before. But we deeply believe in New Thought that if spirit is all there is, if the infinite oneness of life that some people call God, some people call Allah, some people call Jesus, some people call good vibes. I tend to kind of go on that realm. If that's all there is, then every single thing is a part of it, including money and abundance of every good thing. And so if we are wanting to call goodness into our lives, part of that is making peace with every single aspect of life that is, including money and our relationship to it. Abundance, which is the greater picture of which money is a part of, a flowing forth of good things. And I don't know about you, but I want good in my life. You want good in your life? Yeah? You want more good in your life? You want more than that? How about more than that? How about more than you ever thought was ever possible, ever? Yes. So we better talk about it then, right? Otherwise, we would be doing you a deep disservice. And Reverend Karen and I aren't about that. We're about, having the real conversations. So our theme for this month, we have a different theme every year for this topic, and it is one with the abundant universe. Oh, feel into that. One with the abundant universe. I believe that I am one with the abundant universe. You? Yeah? Ready to get deeper into it? Yes. All right. We have had conversations so far on gratitude, which we know primes the pump of abundance, right? It's a way to get that flow started. And last week we had a beautiful talk with Reverend Karen Russo on courage, on being courageous enough to claim it, to own it, to know it, to stand in it, to call it forward. And today our talk is about generosity. Generosity, which is maybe, what you expect to hear in a talk from a minister during Stewardship Month. So I have a slide here that talks about what I call the flow, the cycle of flowing good. And according to New Thought, according to Ernest Holmes, this is how he articulated it. He said he defined grace as the ever-givingness of life, capital L, life, as in a synonym for God, the ever-givingness of life to its own creation. Guess who its creation is? Us! Right? All of us, everyone, everywhere. And if grace is the ever-givingness of life to its own creation, then it comes to the creation. We're the creation. We get the grace. So the grace is all the good. All the good. It's always coming. Always coming. Always coming. It doesn't have to be earned. It doesn't even have to be asked for, really. It's always coming. But then it comes to us, and then what do? We could hoard it. We all can think of people, including maybe ourselves, who've done that, yeah? We can ignore it. We can be afraid of it. Or we can participate in that cycle by leaning into generosity. When that happens, what we do is we move it back. So generosity is the givingness of creation back to life. And the way we don't have to give anything to God. It's already infinite. The way we give it to life is to spread it, to share it. At which point, grace is re-triggered, and the cycle goes and goes and goes, and all the goodness flows throughout all of humanity in an ever-flowing cycle of good, and now we call upon the offering. No, I have to work harder than that today? Okay. I'll have points. Look, I have an outline. See? So Suze Orman talks about generosity really beautifully. She's a financial advisor and expert. She's kind of a media person. And she said it like this. I think it's really lovely. True generosity is an offering given freely and out of pure love. No strings attached, no expectations. So that calls to mind for me Reverend Karen's talk of a couple of weeks ago when she talked about the difference between transactional gratitude. I'm grateful for you for doing this nice thing for me, which is a good thing, right? That's a good thing. And atmospheric gratitude, which is just, I am grateful. So this calls us into the difference between transactional generosity. I give because I understand that I'm triggering this cycle where then grace is going to give more to me. And if I give, somebody told me in a really awesome tithing class that I will get more. I mean, that's good. That's true. It's true. There's not a thing in the world wrong with it. And there's this idea of atmospheric generosity. I give because I am one in the one, and I understand that there's no place where I stop and you start. There's no place where the goodness can only be for me, mine. And then you don't get any, and you have to get your own. Get your own cookies. These are my cookies. Right? We'd like to think that we have a deeper spiritual understanding of the universe than that, right? Until it's your favorite cookies. And then that's harder. So sometimes we need to just have the conversation again. And that's really what this talk is, to find our entry points into this energy, this atmosphere, this consciousness of generosity, not from a transactional place, but from a place of choosing to live in the flow that we are not just in the receivership of grace, but that we are a source of the givingness of grace itself just by being. Oh, let's take a breath. That was a big one. Ooh. Oh. So how? How do we step in? There are three sort of categorical areas that I think are important to touch into. So of these three, one of them will feel easy for you. Whoever you are, wherever you're coming from, one of them will feel easy for you. And one of them will feel like, nope, not gonna do it. It'll just feel like a stretch. And so I just invite you to be aware of that. It's gonna matter at the end. So I just invite you to be open to it. So the first one is generosity of spirit. Generosity of spirit. So this includes things like kindness, compassion, forgiveness. Bet you've never heard us talk about any of those things up here before, right? I bet you've never heard any of your pastors, ministers, or faith leaders talk about that before, right? And it includes more than that. It goes a little bit even further than that, into the idea of positive assumption. So the story goes like this. Our brains are meaning-making machines. We know this. We know it from anecdotes. We know it from psychology. We know it from neuroscience. We get data. Our brain goes into this game of, what does it mean? Make a story, make it fit, make a narrative, right? We're all doing it all the time. You couldn't not do it if you tried. We're always doing it. And so generosity of spirit invites us into the idea, if we're making up stories all the time, what if we chose to make up the kindest version of the story? What if we leaned first into, oh, I bet that person is just having a challenging day, as opposed to, they want me to die. In traffic or otherwise, maybe a little more likely in traffic, what if we leaned into the idea that all people, all the time, are just trying to have their best experience? I genuinely believe this. Even in cases of what we would call deep evil, nobody's the bad guy in their version of the story. Everybody's trying to do the best they can. Now, can we all agree that each of us can, in some ways, do better in kindness, compassion, and positive living? Yes. But can we also agree that a way we can do that is to lean into the highest possible interpretation of what we cannot know? Yeah. You know, people ask me sometimes, what if, to me personally, what if you find out that science of mind is all garbage? It's all made up. It's all crazy. There's no God. There's just, a tree. What if when you die, you just die and that's it? I guess I can't know objectively, can I? I don't remember being dead. If I have been dead and reincarnated, I don't remember. I can't really know. But I know that it makes my life so much better to believe the way I believe, that life is never ending, that the soul is never ending, that I'm forever and ever cycling upwards in an exploration of expansion of consciousness. It makes my life so much more positive to lean into what I feel is the very reality of a consciousness that I call God, that supports me in everything. It makes my life better. So I choose it, even though I can't know for sure. I welcome Jesus right now to appear. To appear. To appear? Somebody over there sees him. That's awesome. That was a certain kind of giggle. I know that giggle. There are so many things we can't know for sure from the human concreteness that we seek. But we can choose generosity of spirit because it makes our lives better. It makes us happier, more peaceful, more joyful. Katerina Starkova-Klemmer says, if truth doesn't set you free, generosity of spirit will. If we're gonna make up stories, let's make up nice stories. The second form of generosity is generosity of action. This is where we step into service in the world. This is where we take kindness of feeling and words into kindness of action. This is buying pajamas for children we'll never know in the hundreds of pairs because it feels like the right thing to do. This is wearing a mask that's uncomfortable and annoying and maybe not as cute as how you know you look under that mask, because, I'm adorable. I don't want to cover it up either. Because you don't know who in your row or in your line at the grocery store is fighting cancer and has immunodeficiency, right? It's the things that we do out of the kindness of our heart. But it's more than that. We say that all the time. It's not the kindness of our heart. It's the kindness of our heart in action, when we actually take a step beyond a concept into what we do. It's every single person who serves here at the center. It's every single person who serves anywhere, doing anything in any faith tradition, any secular tradition, any charity, anything. Anytime we do it, because it makes someone else's life better. Neat trick, it makes our life better too. Isn't that groovy? I love that. I love that we cannot make someone else's life better without having it make our life better too. That, whoever designed the universe, where's the tree? Whoever designed this whole system built that in, and it's so fantastic that when we do kind things, it makes us feel better too. Oh, it's brilliant. It's beautiful. It's responding to the call of your own soul with action. It happens through huge corporations giving billions of dollars to make sure that orphans in Somalia get malaria care. A disease we'll never experience, people we'll never meet, companies that we may or may not even like, and yet the good is happening. And it happens in these delicate, tiny, personal ways too. So I want to talk to you about Brittany and Nyla. Brittany and Nyla, okay. High school students. High school students right now, they're high school seniors. Brittany made a promise to her mom just a couple weeks ago. As her mom, who was the administrator of her high school, in a little rural town where she had gone to every single thing Brittany had ever done. We all know a mom like that, right? My mom is a mom like that. Every cheerleading thing, every choir concert, every soccer game, everything. So when she was in the hospital, dying of cervical cancer, about 3 weeks ago, she made Brittany promise that she would go to homecoming because she was nominated for homecoming queen. She's princess. And Brittany didn't want to go. How do you get in the mood to go to a football game and ride in the back of a convertible and wave and wear a sash when your mom just died? How do you do that? But her mom made her promise. She didn't want her to miss out. And so she did. So she went. And she didn't win. I didn't win either. That's true, I didn't. It was fun anyway. So they're standing on the football field, and all the gals have their sashes, and the handsome football players in their suits, and it's a sweet, sweet, sweet moment. And Brittany's good friend Nyla is crowned. And she took the crown off her head, 17 years old. God, I wish I had been this mature at 17 years old. She took the crown off her head, and she put it on Brittany's. And this is what she said about it. I just felt that it was something put on my heart. It was really just for her, to bring her day up a bit. And she'd rather have her mom than a crown. But the point was, I was telling her that she was her mom's queen. And I was letting her know that she was loved by many, especially me. Generosity of action. We have these ideas well up in us all day long, every day. And most of them we don't act on. But when we do, the world changes. When we do, grace is activated. So it brings us to generosity of resources. And this is the one that we tend to get stuck on because we have this belief in our culture, in our world, in our life. We have this belief that there just isn't quite enough for everybody to get everything that they want and everything that they need. We think life is pie. That if I get too many slices, then John doesn't get any pie. And that just isn't the way it works. Grace never stops giving. It never stops. It creates its own good forever and ever, increasing in its goodness. We can't run out. We can't run out of kindness and positive intent. We can't run out of positive action, and we can't run out of money and resources. We can't. The universe is always creating more. Like that tree, the tree that apparently in this talk designed the universe, it's always growing more acorns. It's the nature of life to continue to express and expand into more. And yet we tend to feel like this squirrel. And yet we tend to feel like this squirrel. We've got our arms loaded up with our own good, right? This is mine. These are my cookies. They're my favorite cookies. No one gets my cookies but me. Mine, my cookies, my acorns. And then we see something awesome. But you can't pick up something awesome when your arms are full of the acorns you're already holding. This is a slide, by the way, from a talk from 6 years ago. The rules don't change. Time goes on, but the laws don't change, right? We can't expand our good while we're holding with our white-knuckled grip to the good of the previous. So digging into generosity of our resources becomes a faith walk. Am I able and willing to share the good that I have? Can I take the crown off my head, knowing it does not mean that I am not loved and chosen? Knowing it does not mean I'm giving away my good, but it means I'm opening my arms wide to accept the good that's coming. Can I see the good out there, here at New Vision Center, other organizations, other people, everywhere? Can I see the places where good is needed and take my acorns and say, have them? I know the world is giving me more, always more, always more. Can we dig deep enough to trust that even though we cannot know for sure yet, the check is not in the mail yet, the raise hasn't come yet, the windfall isn't here yet, but it is coming? Can we do that? Will we do that? And when we do, grace is activated. The world is changed. We are changed. And so this means we have to quote Spock. Because it is still the year of the spiritual hero's journey. Well, we'll quote Leonard Nimoy, who played Spock. He said, the miracle is this: the more we share, the more we have. The more we share, the more we have of spirit, of action, and of resources. The rules don't change because we change the category. Universal principle is universal. And so the call to action is this. You know which of those was easy for you, yeah? Can you dig a little deeper on that one? Can you expand just a little bit more? You know which one was hard for you, yeah? Can you take the tiniest step? Just the tiniest step forward on that one. If we all do that, grace is activated and the world changes. And so it is. And so I invite our ministers of religious science, our practitioners in service, our practitioners in training to take a stand. And I invite faith leaders of every denomination who are ready to take a stand on this message to rise right where you are as well, as we anchor this in prayer. How good it is to know that the infinite love of life is truly infinite. That the infinite ever-givingness of life includes each one of us, both as receiver and as participant, as giver. How beautiful it is to know that each of us walking out our life is a part of the way God loves the world. And so I speak a word of blessing over every ear that hears, over every eye that sees, over every knower that knows, trusting implicitly that the power of this message is reaching that place in each one of us that is ready to be reached, and that anything that has held us back from being a more generous being is healed and melted away in this moment. We breathe into it. We are thankful for it, and we call it deeply good as we say together, and so it is.